Hello everyone! Today we're going to talk about the ISFJ personality type. I'm going to summarize them, just talk about, what is this type like, what are their strengths and weaknesses, and then I'm also going to go into the functions, the cognitive functions of this personality type, and talk a bit about what this function order means for the ISFJ in their daily life. First of all, let's just mention the cognitive functions for a second. So, the function order of the ISFJ is introverted sensing, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and extroverted intuition. So, what are these people like? In general, ISFJs, they are usually very calm and patient people. So, they will be good at listening to other people. They are organized and structured, good at paying attention to detail, and they're also very caring people, and usually they are also loyal to the people they know and to the communities that they are a part of. They are also very practical and grounded people. So when we are looking at their strengths, they are really good at routine work. Once something has their interest, they really don't mind doing routine work. So having the same schedule every day and doing the same task over and over again, as long as it's work that they're interested in. Actually, they prefer having a routine in their life and having a clear structure in their life. They really like their life to be structured, and that's why they don't mind following routine. They can be these people who are like quiet, hard workers who don't really stand out, but they are working really hard behind the scenes on things. It doesn't even necessarily have to be their job, it can also just be like taking care of people, but they will be working hard behind the scenes. They're not the kind of people who will boast about things, like look at how good I'm doing things. They're just more quiet people who kind of prefer to be in the background, and that's why sometimes their work is underappreciated as well, because they're not going to be the ones to shout about it, and to be like, look at me and what I'm doing this kind of routine work that maybe no one else even wanted to do, but they will do it with great attention to detail. They are these people who are really practical and realistic, because they are very in touch with the real world. They're very aware of the real world around them, not necessarily in the moment, but their focus, their interest is always about things in their real environment, more tangible things, physical things. They just really value the experiences they had in their life, and they also refer a lot to the past. So they really like to refer to the past, think about what have they gone through in their life, what has it taught them, and how can they use that for future planning. So when they are planning for the future, they really take into account their past experiences, and they make sure to learn from it. They are experiential learners. They don't mind the details of daily life, just their daily routines. They don't really see it as boring because they're very grounded in reality. They're not really dreamers, they are the kind of people who really know how to handle practical things, but they like to handle practical things by referring to the past, and they like to refer to any methods that have worked in the past or methods that they have learned from someone else, and then they like to just use these methods over and over again because they worked. They prefer to really think about their real life experiences, and it's not necessarily only memories, but it's also just any kind of knowledge. It could be anything they heard, anything they read, but it's going to be pretty literal knowledge. It's not going to leave a lot up for imagination. It's just going to be detailed, literal things that they might have read somewhere, which is one of the reasons why these people are supposed to have kind of like a very extensive memory that's very detailed, and they can remember a lot of facts and also remember past experiences very well. And they are very social people. Despite being introverted, they are very interested in people. and in social relationships. They are usually good at understanding what people need, especially things like physical needs, and they are really good at remembering details about someone, just remembering facts about someone, remembering how a person behaved in the past, kind of remembering those details about people and understanding them through that. And they are usually very loyal to the people they know, and they may like to be part of a community and just help the people around them, which is why they are often known for just being very kind and caring people. They're usually pretty family oriented. They're not the kind of people who would randomly change plans. When they plan something, they're likely to follow through with it. One of the reasons why they are really loyal to the people they know usually is because they put a lot of value in their past and their past memories. So they might really attach themselves so much to their memories that they don't really want to leave those people behind. Or sometimes, certain traditions, they might really value traditions from their past as well. So when we're looking at weaknesses, the thing is that they can sometimes be or seem a bit distant because they are IJs. They really prefer to look at information in their mind. They really like to explore, especially explore past memories, knowledge, that kind of stuff, and any insights that they gain from that, which means that they can sometimes not be fully aware of the world around them because they are very focused on a certain past memory. They're still going to be pretty grounded because they are not dreaming away about random things. They are usually kind of still in touch with their environment, but they might be lost in a memory of their environment and then still seem like they are a bit distracted and not fully in the moment, which is also one of the reasons why they have difficulty with being spontaneous. They don't really like just changing plans in the moment. They don't really like to adapt to the moment. Instead, they prefer to kind of do things the way they have always done. This can make them seem like they do hold on to the past a bit too much, and they may also have difficulty with trusting their intuition. So they don't like to have any crazy ideas for or future plans that are not based on past knowledge. They prefer to refer to that, and they may not trust themselves when they do have any ideas and there's no evidence from the past that it's going to work out. They might then be really afraid that it's not going to work out, and that might really prevent them from changing things up in their life. So they might need to learn to trust their intuition more and kind of be more interested in that as well, be more interested in exploring new possibilities and new options. Now I'm going to explain how the cognitive functions kind of relate to these strengths and weaknesses and what each function means. So, like I said, they have introverted sensing as their dominant function, which means it's very strong. And this is the source of their focus on the past, focus on realistic knowledge and detailed knowledge. And this is the reason why they like structure, why they don't really like a lot of change. And then they also have extroverted feeling as their second function. And this function means that once they are being extroverted, they really like to focus on people and they're really aware of people's needs, especially needs that are more focused on the physical world. Their third function is introverted thinking. Now, people can, when they're being very introverted, get stuck in a sort of introverted loop where they start only using the introverted functions a lot. And whenever this happens, they might get really analytical about things, because introverted thinking is about analyzing, an objective analysis, trying to solve problems. So what they might do when they're using SI and TI together is kind of analyze the past, analyze any things that they have seen, and see what they can conclude from that. What can they learn from that? And this is one of the ways that they like to make decisions. They like to make their own personal decisions based on logical reasoning. Thinking about what is the decision that's most logical for me right now. And that's what they're going to base their decisions on. But when they are being extroverted, they are, because of extroverted feeling, they can become quite emotional, and they can also like to organize things, but then their introverted thinking is still not one of their strongest functions, so they will use introverted thinking frequently, but they will probably use it together with introverted sensing most of the time, because they can't really use introverted thinking by itself because it's not strong enough for that, and it's more of a supporting function that they do use frequently, but usually they will still care more about people's feelings than about their own logic in the end. So their fourth function is basically the weakest function that they still use consciously. So it is something that they use, but it is something that just can cause trouble for them because they are not very good at using it, and they might make mistakes in this area. And they might also be in danger of not using it enough. So extrovert intuition is all about being pretty spontaneous and at the same time focused on ideas and imagination, imagining things completely new, completely different from anything you've seen before, and kind of thinking about what future possibilities do I see, and being very future focused, because whenever ISFJs are future focused, they're probably still going to be not planning too far ahead and still kind of take the past into account, for their decisions. But really, extrovert intuition is about not doing that and only focusing on what your intuition tells you. If you have a vision, an idea of a possibility, just following that blindly and also adapting to the moment and kind of changing your behavior in the moment, adapting to any possibility that you notice and doing a lot of new things all the time. It's also about kind of looking at things not literally, but looking at the big picture, not look at separate things that you know, but thinking about what do they all have in common. And it's about concepts, so theories that are not very literal, like facts, but theories that are more conceptual, something that you really need to use your imagination for, focusing on thinking about concepts rather than thinking about real things. That can be difficult for them. They may not really like to, for example, philosophize for a very long time, and they may not like to think about things that have nothing to do with their own real life, their own daily life. So this whole focus on concepts rather than real things, it's something they don't prefer to do. They're never going to be using this a whole lot in their life, but whenever they manage to develop this function more and actually sometimes start using it, then they can become really creative and get random interesting ideas that they will share with people. Yeah, so then for possible jobs that these people might like are things that are very practical but also focused on people, such as a nurse or a doctor or a teacher. Work that's maybe a bit creative, like writing, or work that is very routine based, like administrative work, and needs a lot of attention to detail. So their 4 last functions are the shadow functions, which are the ones that they don't really use consciously. And I'm not going to go into them in great detail, but I will mention that their weakest 2 functions are introverted intuition and extroverted thinking, which means that these functions in general might be really difficult for them, as well as extroverted intuition. You know, if you really want to look at their weaknesses, you might want to look at those 3 functions. So both intuition functions and then extroverted thinking, because extroverted thinking is their blind spot, so they might have trouble with efficiency, with taking logical action. So yeah, that was the ISFJ type summarized. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!